Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Contour Community Meeting. Today is May 11th, 2021, and we got a bunch of fun updates for you all today. So let's get started. First off, we have KubeCon. What happened at KubeCon?
We had a lot of fun and we had good attendance all our sessions. I think our Wednesday session, we had 411 folks come is what the CNCF folks told us. So it was good. Yeah, the office hours.
It's amazing.
Yeah, the office hours were packed with questions and stuff. So just thanks for everyone for coming and chatting and hanging out and that sort of thing. So it's good to see us grow year to year. It seems to get bigger and bigger, which is cool.
Well, yeah, kudos to you, Steve, for leading a lot of those discussions. I thought you did a great job.
Cool, thanks. No, I think it's all of us. It's all, it's hard for different time zones for this one. When's the next one? October? Los Angeles?
Yeah, in LA, right in my backyard. So that'd be really awesome if it's in person.
Yeah, that's the plan. The plan is to do in person, and we'll see how that goes. I think they will hopefully be able to pull it off. It'd be awesome. The virtual gatherings, of course, attract everyone that can't travel for this as well. So it's an amazing chance for a larger audience to see and hear from maintainers, from users, and other contributors of different CNCF projects. So it's awesome to see that 411 people joined in. It's just fantastic. And yeah, I saw the office hours were pretty packed as well, with a bunch of questions and things. And yeah, thank you, Steve, for doing a really smart solution to have everyone, all the maintainers, be able to answer the Q&A during the session as well. That was fantastic.
No, I'm glad that worked. That was my second foray into OBS. So at least we have that in our back pocket now for future things if we need it. So
yeah, it was really nice. Yeah, and I'll be getting so from Tin, who organized all the office hours, she told me that they will be collecting data from all the office hours and send that out to the maintainers later on as well. So hopefully we'll have that maybe this week or so we can have some data there too. All right. So let's dive into other updates. Steve, Chris?
Yeah, so I've been chugging away at migrating our E2E tests into Go. So for those of you who haven't heard, we've decided to to basically move our tests, our existing integration tests, which were using YAML and Rego, just into Go tests, and we've decided to use Ginkgo as our test framework. We think this is going to be a little bit more maintainable and less of a kind of barrier to entry for contributors, and also allows us to extend it to things like performance and upgrade and scale tests. So I've been chugging away at just taking the existing set of tests and re-implementing them in Go. At this point, I think I have either merged or have PRs up for all of the existing tests. So that feels pretty good, with the one exception that I noted in the notes here that Sanjay is going to work on, and that's one that's not even running by default right now. So not the most essential one for the initial migration. And then I've been just observing a few test flakes, and so making some changes to hopefully make the test more robust against those, so we don't have flakes. And then the plan is to just have the new Go tests run in parallel with the existing integration tests for a while, so we can kind of observe if there are any differences in behavior between the two. Hopefully they're more or less the same. And at a certain point, once we're comfortable with the new tests, we'll shut off the old ones and take them out of the repository. So yeah, feeling pretty good about where we are. My initial goal was just to get all the existing tests migrated, but I do think there are many more improvements that can be made to the Go-based framework. Been having a lot of discussions with the other maintainers about this and have various notes in the issues. So I will definitely look to continue making improvements here, and maybe our next goal will be to tackle something like automated upgrade testing, which I think would be really valuable. So yeah, that pretty much covers it for me.
Nice. Any questions, comments for Steve?
I think this is awesome. So thanks for taking this up, Steve. And thanks, Sanjay, for your help. I know you've been a big part of chatting with Steve on this. This is really cool. And they're fast too, which is fun. They tend to run a little faster. So I know we had a little off-cuff discussion in Slack this morning about trying to make them run even faster. I think there's some more things we can do. So heads up for that. I just added to your notes, Steve, that make E2E, if you want to play with these, you can just run that make task and it will run, just the new Go based tests easily. So
Yeah, cool. And definitely big thanks to everyone who's Steve and Sanjay and others who have provided input. It's really helpful just, as we're trying to figure out what the new framework would look like, because, we can be whatever we want it to be. So, so having everyone's input is helpful. And yeah, it'd be really nice if, we could just get the cluster setup time or whatever it is down so that we can run these really quickly locally. So I personally, I find them hugely valuable. And like, if we can add lots more scenarios to the suite, it's nice to be able to run these and have kind of the full end-to-end regression suite.
Nice. All right, next up, Sanjay.
Yeah, so this is kind of an internal, mostly facing change. As part of Contour 1.15 and the latest release of Kubernetes, we bumped our support matrix to be the latest, which is Kubernetes 1.21 to -2 1.19. As part of that, now we can fully remove all of the internal code for handling Ingress v1 beta 1 resources, since as part of Kubernetes 1.19 plus Ingress v1 resources, or Ingress v1 exists fully. We don't have to fall back anymore to subscribing to Ingress v1 beta 1 informers and all that kind of stuff. So this is mostly an internal change. Ingress, if you have Ingress v1 beta 1 resources in your cluster, they will still work. It's just mostly removing kind of dead code in Contour. It does, however, make it that Contour 1.16 will draw a hard line in our support matrix. So we have a support matrix, so we don't actually test against anything outside of that, but this will actually make it so you can't use Contour 1.16 and above with lower versions of Kubernetes that are out of scope of the support matrix. So users should have a buffer release, which is the 1.15 release, where this changes are not present, but 1.16 and that release already has the support matrix as 1.19 plus, but Contour 1.16 will actually draw the hard line under that and make it so that won't be possible to, in practice, use a Contour with anything lower than what's in the support matrix. So just trying to make people aware in case there's any surprises. We'll call it out in the release notes and everything. But yeah, let us know, of course, if this is a big issue, and we can revert some things.
Question on that. Does 1.15, even though it's obviously not supported, will it run on 1.17?
Most likely, yeah. We don't test it, but probably 1.15 should be fine. But once you get to main or the new 1.16 release, then it will not.
Sure, thanks. Sorry, one last question. Is there a link to the support metrics? Is that on GitHub somewhere?
Yeah, that should be on the website. I think I can grab it, the link here, put it in the chat as well as the doc. Here we go, chat.
I think it's in the bottom left. Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect, thanks.
I see that wasn't caught by the search either, because it's not in docs, it's under resources. So part of the docs revamp. Make sure to move things around here. Is are these ones still relevant to anyone, you think? Just wondering if we should help them out.
Yeah, I recently culled some of the older ones. I went back like, what was it, like a year, and left the ones a year ago in, but we can chop it off even more if we care to, I think. I was conservative with my estimate of how long people needed.
Very, very considerate. Okay, awesome. Any other questions, comments on this change here? All right, Steve and Daniel.
Yeah, so like I said, the last few meetings, my updates will be mostly Gateway API things at this point, but there are a few more PRs coming in terms of adding support for the various Gateway API things. So in here, I've got support for TLS routes, which will match how HTTP proxy manages like a TCP proxy in HTTP proxy with pass-through. That's kind of what TLS route is meant to do. So these are all purview. So these whenever we get to them, can get put in there. The more significant change is the one Daniel wrote on his. So we started out writing the operator to manage Contour, and then we had added support to have the operator manage gateways, right? So the idea was that a gateway represented kind of like a service type load balancer, and that was your entry point for your traffic. And then we had the operator managing all the gateway resources, which meant that the operator would create Contour and then also create the Envoy instances in your cluster. We did a little bit of looking and playing around with that, and we're going to try this new idea where we're going to have Contour now manage envoys. Now, this is all optional. This is not required to do it this route. But the idea now is to have Contour manage gateways, and then the operator will still create contours. You still have that full end-to-end controller-based creation if you'd like. If not, you can have your envoys being managed by Contour, and if not, you can still do it all by hand like it is today. But the idea is that we're going to try this out. So Dayton has a PR, which is based off some of my PRs. So we're going to have to do some rebasing fun. But yeah, so the first one is adding some controller runtime controllers. Once we have those in, then we can go review Daniel's PR and then start looking at that migration. Just a heads up. So none of this is going to affect anyone in terms of how Contour processes everything today, because all the gateway stuff is still alpha. So none of it will be on by default. So I don't suspect there'll be any issue for your clusters going ahead until we actually have full support for this stuff. So stay tuned for all of these things. Daniel, anything else you want to add to that?
No, I appreciate the summary. So, from my standpoint, the PR that I linked, and this is really just porting over the gateway class and gateway controllers, from the operator to Contour. And as Steve mentioned, the one sub resource of a gateway that the gateway controller will manage is the Envoy service. There's still a lot more work to do after 3659 potentially merges, but hopefully we can make some progress. It would be nice for the next release if we can make this happen. So appreciate eyes on both the 3510, which is required from Steve, that adds the controller runtime, and then this PR as well.
Yeah, I think this one's ready to go. If folks want to look at this again. So Steve, you had a bunch of good comments this morning on this. I think we've got them all fixed up. Yeah, so we'll have to just poke through these.
All right. Any questions, comments on the Gateway API implementation here? Just big thumbs up. All right. Yeah, I just wanted to bring up a few things. So I'm working with Ihor over at CNCF to get some clarity on the calendar issues that we keep having for our distribution lists. People are having meetings, meeting invites that don't exist, or they don't get the ones that we actually have. And I've noticed that some of the meeting invites, calendar events that we add, send out emails, but not actually calendar invites. So they don't pop up in people's calendars. They just get sent an ICS file. So you have to manually add the event, like community meetings and office hours and things like that, to your calendar, which is, of course, not how things should be. So we're pushing them to fix this now because it's super annoying. This is like the 14th time we have this issue right now. So hopefully that will be fixed soon. Otherwise, we'll just move over to Google Groups or something, just to have proper calendar invites, because we can't keep doing this. So yeah, just a quick update there. And then one more thing, I will be migrating myself or PRing myself out from the maintainers list here. So I'll be adding in Orlin here. So I'll do that later this afternoon. So if you want to take a look at that and just approve it, so Orlin can get added to all the CNCF maintainer stuff as well for Contour, that'd be super, super helpful. Any questions, comments? Right. Anyone have any discussion topics to bring up today? Anything you want to ask of the maintainer team or anything else?
I would just quickly introduce myself. I don't think I have on this particular call. Bill Rowe. I've joined the PCF, sorry, the pivotal or the VMware Kubernetes team here, and within that is of course Contour. So glad to be here. I'm actually an active maintainer over on Envoy. Actually, I'm looking at a couple of things where we're talking about Lua integration along with the possibility of Envoy adding some HTTP, HTTPS location transformations, and also going to dig deeply over into the XDS and gRPC handling within Contour to understand whether or not we can accurately reflect negative results that Envoy returns back to us. So those are just some things that I'm doing in Contour space. So glad to be here. I was just chuckling. Sanjay, great compatibility chart. You now can change master to 1.18.3, which will be broadcast loudly later today. So, anyways,
That's
Awesome.
a good point.
Yeah, thank you, Bill. We've been on so many meetings, so I completely missed that you haven't been on this specific one. So yes, thank you for introducing yourself, and thank you for being a big help here. Right. Anyone else have anything to add to today's meetings? All right. Well, thank you, everyone, and have a fantastic rest of the week. See you all next week. Bye, folks.
Bye.